Hello, welcome to Todd Miller TV. The question today is, who owns all of the listing data on a listing? Does the agent own it? Does the broker own it? Does the MLS own it? Does the homeowner own it? You know, who owns the data? So what I did is I did a little research as far as calling around to some attorneys that I know. I called some MLSs, and then I did something. I read what the listing agreement says, and I'm gonna read this here in a minute because it's actually pretty insightful. So there's been a big debate about agent takes a listing. That listing gets pushed into the MLS, and then from there, other sites maybe pull it. Realtor.com will pull it out, and then brokers will take that site, the data from that site, and push it to other sites through places like ListHub, Point to Agent, to about 400 different websites that the listing data can show up on. And then not too long ago, a broker in San Diego came out and said, hey, we are going to restrict our data from going to all those sites. And there was uproar over this because all these sites are using this data that the brokers have compiled, and they're monetizing it. They were selling the information. I think their fear is that if more brokers do this, they'll be out of business, because there's no way they could collate this data themselves. There's just no way. It would be extremely difficult, and I'll go through that in a minute. So let's say you're standing out in front of a house and you take a picture of it. You're in a public area, you're in a street or a sidewalk, you take a picture of the house. Well, you have the rights to that. I mean, you own it. If you take a picture, the photographer owns the rights to that. You can take a picture in a public place of a public setting and own those rights. You don't have to get permission from the owner of their house to take a picture of their house. That's just, that's just pretty standard anywhere. For example, paparazzi, right? You've probably seen paparazzi. They just take pictures of celebrities and they go sell the pictures, which they totally have the right to do. Okay, so data on an MLS. Well, here's the key. A lot of people out there say, hey, look, it's the owner owns that data because it's their house. And that's true, they do own the house. However, there's this thing called a listing agreement, and I'm almost sure that of all the MLSs in the country, they have this same little thing called use of listing content. I'm going to read it here, and then I'm going to explain what this means. So the agent or the broker gets this signed, and this becomes a ratified agreement. And then all the terms in here become binding. So this is what this says. Use of listing content. Seller acknowledges and agrees that all photographs, images, graphics, video recordings, virtual tours, drawings, written descriptions, remarks, narratives, pricing information, and other copyrightable elements relating to the property provided by the seller to broker or broker's agent, and any changes thereto may be filed with the MLS, included in compilations of listings and otherwise distributed, publicly displayed, and reproduced in any medium. Seller hereby grants to broker a non-exclusive, irrevocable, worldwide, royalty-free license to use, sub-license through multiple tiers, publish, display, and reproduce the seller listing content, to prepare derivative works of the seller listing content, and to distribute the seller listing content in any medium. In any medium. So that means in print, on the internet, whatever. This non-exclusive license, and that just means that I can have a license to do it, and then the next listing agent can get the same license. It's not exclusive to me. Seller represents and warrants to broker that the seller listing content and the license granted the broker do not violate or infringe upon the rights, including any copyright rights of any person or entity. This non-exclusive license shall survive the termination of this agreement for any reason whatsoever. So once this is signed, the seller can cancel the listing, but we still have the rights to the data. So what this says here is the broker owns it. The broker has the rights. What we as brokers do through our agreement with the MLS, we give that data to the MLS. The MLS then has some permissions they can do for monitoring the data to make sure there's nothing harmful in there. They can restrict certain things that we say. So the bottom line is, the pictures that we take, they're all copyrighted. The remarks that we put in, they're copyrighted. Some stuff can be found in public data. We can't copyright public information, right? And it's non-exclusive, so that means somebody else can go out there and gather the same data if they want and publish it in any way they want. But I'll give you an example. If I go into a house, and let's say that there's no public records of a water softener in there, but I go and discover a water softener, say, hey, you know, tell me about the water softener. Do you own it? Do you lease it? And they say, oh yeah, well, it's owned. I can go in the MLS and put water softener owned. That'd be a unique field, right? Just like all the other unique fields. The compilation of all of that data, it's owned by the broker. So if the broker chooses to not publish it on a website, the broker doesn't have to do that. It's not public information. And I think people have gotten so used to this concept of everything should be free and that other people should go out there and work and give me the data for free so I can use it, sell it to other people and make money. Well, it doesn't work that way. Brokers use this data for whatever they want. They can use this data to market a property, to obtain a buyer. They can, you know, that's typically what we use it for. Obviously, we want to sell a property. Do I blame brokers for not wanting to give the data a license to somebody else to then put the data out there competing with them for the same people, have them sell those leads to other agents and have those other agents come buy the property? Well, you know, that's I don't blame them for doing that. I think everybody has a right to do their own business practices, and I know that the big sites that are using this data make a lot of money from advertising from it. I don't think that the debate is going to end anytime soon on this. Just so you guys know, my data goes everywhere. It's not always accurate because sometimes these other sites strip it. They make a lot of mistakes, and they sometimes put other agents on it as the listing agents. I found that out recently. But going to about 400 sites, that's a lot of data. I let mine go out there freely for whatever it's worth. To answer the question is the broker owns the data. It's owned by the data through an agreement with the seller. We put it in the MLS. The MLS has some rights there, and that's it. So I just wanted to share that with you. That is my update for today, and hope to see you on another video. Thanks.